Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. So, my nephew's birthday is tomorrow, and I was looking forward to it for quite some time. As he's my twin brother's son, I have a special spot for him in my heart. I was fully prepared to be the cool aunt that spoils her nephew, but unfortunately, I didn't get the chance. Just to be polite, I didn't act on my excitement and patiently waited for my brother to call me first to tell me about the plans for Austin's birthday. But he didn't text or call regarding Austin's birthday celebration even until this evening. I lost my patience and called him to indirectly ask him if they have any plans for the next day. I slickly brought up Austin, but even then my brother didn't say anything. He was trying to avoid my question a little, so I decided to take the direct approach because, for the love of God, I couldn't figure out why he's being sneaky. So I told him to stop beating around the bush and tell me how he's going to celebrate Austin's birthday and if he needs any help with anything. But he said that it's not a big deal and I shouldn't worry about it. That caught me by surprise. How can the first birthday of your child not be a big deal? Especially a kid that is adored by his parents, his aunts, his grandparents, and even his neighbors. I told him not to joke around and spill the beans, but he kept insisting it's not a big celebration and there's no need for me to come. I could practically hear the awkwardness in his voice, and my twin senses were tingling, so I asked him in a serious voice to just tell me the truth. My brother got a little embarrassed and said that he is planning a big birthday celebration for Austin, but I am not invited to the party as his kid is scared of me. I was astonished. I have visited that kid every other week, and every time he's been more than happy to be in my arms. He's even fallen asleep quite often while I held him, so there's no way that he's scared of me. How can my brother even think that? But I decided not to push him any further. The problem was that we're twins, and we've always shared a bond that's closer than that of two siblings. We used to share everything with each other, and no boundaries existed between us. It was only when we went to college that we talked about creating some space between us so as to make room for other people. We were both dating and trying to open up to our girlfriends and boyfriends more. So we eventually stopped talking about every single thing of our day, and it got to a point where we went days without seeing each other. That doesn't mean we stopped caring about each other. You could say that in a sense we became adults. So when I clearly knew my brother was lying, I thought there must be a valid reason for that, and I didn't ask him about it. But I felt sad and disappointed, so I called my mom and told her about my conversation with him. When I was done talking, my mom asked me to not be sad because it's not my fault at all. She said she knows what's going on with my brother and he's just trying to protect me from being hurt. At this, I practically shouted that I'm not a child that needs protection just because a kid is scared of me and might end up rejecting me or my love. But my mom told me to not be stupid as Austin adores me and everyone knows that. She said that my brother couldn't invite me over because he's inviting someone else that he's close with, and I don't really get along with this person. Now, I was beyond curious because that doesn't seem like a valid reason to me, so I kept badgering my mom to tell me who it was. I am quite tenacious, and my mom gave in to me soon. Her reply to my question flabbergasted me. My brother chose to exclude me from the guest list, his twin sister, just so he could invite my ex-husband to the party. I cannot believe he'll do this to me. Granted, I met my ex-husband through my twin and we ended up getting married. But later on, I found out that my ex-husband cheated on me while drunk. But I didn't want to hear any of his excuses. Drunk or not, it was the same to me and we ended up having a divorce. Our relationship was doomed after I found out about it, so there was no point of trying any more, and we both mutually decided to end it. I didn't know my brother was still in contact with his friend. I mean, I don't want to dictate his life, and if he wants to be friends with someone like that, then by all means he should be, because a person who was bad to me can be good to someone else. But the fact that my twin brother chose him over me was really offensive. I felt betrayed for some reason. I feel like we always had an unspoken promise between us to have each other's back for life. And he broke that promise. I can't stop thinking about the way he lied and said the reason I'm not invited is because I scare my nephew. Somehow, that's the worst excuse he could have used. Now, I want to go over to my twin's house tomorrow and confront him face to face about the whole situation. It could possibly ruin the party for some people, but I feel like as long as I wait until the last hour to say anything, it wouldn't be a complete shit show overshadowed by our drama. Would that make me an a-hole and a bad aunt? Am I overreacting right now? And can my twin really choose his friend over his sister? So I saw a lot of you telling me that I have every right to be offended at him choosing my ex-husband over me, and I cannot express how relieved I felt because of that. I spent the whole night feeling bad because I thought I didn't have a right to be this offended just because my brother has a life of his own and people he is closer to than he is to me. But yeah, I've given it a bit more thought and I'm going to go over to meet my nephew before the party starts. I don't want to interrupt the celebration because my nephew deserves to have a great time, even though he wouldn't remember his first birthday, or a few more, to be frank. Either way, they are going to take videos, and it's better to sort out the drama privately. I am not going to talk to my brother at all, and I'm guessing my mom would have already told him that I know by now, so he'll try to stay away to avoid me. Well, I'll update here once anything else happens. So I wasn't able to get to Reddit to update you guys sooner, but when I went over to meet Austin, my brother was there, and the moment I walked in, he excused himself just as I thought. I was there for about an hour and gave Austin all the gifts I bought for him. I ran into my mom on my way out, and she asked me if I came here to fight and was about ready to tell me off for ruining the day when I told her to hold it because I was just visiting my nephew, as I have every right to do unless the parents ban me forever. That night, I received a call from my brother, and as soon as I answered, he said sorry. I told him it's not enough this time, and he has already made his choice, so there's no going back. But he asked me to meet him for lunch and give him a chance to explain himself. I was really offended, and for a second thought there's no need for me to let him off easy, but I was also dying to know just why he did it. So I told him that I don't have time the next day and we could meet on Saturday when I'll have the day off. So I'll leave my work after lunch and go over and spoil him to my heart's content. He'll be coming over tomorrow, and even though I'm still conflicted about what to do with him, I can't wait to see him apologize and try to explain his way out of this one. Well, guess what? He did have a reason, but in my opinion, it's not genuine at all. This complete a-hole, who is supposed to know every single thing about me because of his twin senses, is nothing but a dumb hunk of meat. So, my ex-husband and I have been separated for a year now, and I didn't know this, but he was trying all this time to get a promotion at his job that would allow him to transfer to another branch. He got the promotion last month and chose to transfer to London. He was supposed to leave on Thursday, and my brother found out about this whole thing about a week ago, because it'll be hard for them to see each other for a long time, and might even be possible that they move on with their lives in the following years and not meet in the future. He invited him to his son's only birthday celebration that guy could attend. But that's not all. My brother thought I wouldn't be able to handle seeing the man who cheated on me and might get uncomfortable, so he decided not to put me through that suffering all on his own. After I called him, he was thinking about just telling me the truth and letting me decide whether or not I want to go. But then Mom called and told him I found out the truth. So he was embarrassed and didn't talk to me at all. He didn't only make me feel like shit, but also ended up feeling like shit himself. And what am I supposed to do about this? I want to punish him, but at the same time, I don't know how. I'm hoping y'all could tell me what I can do to make him understand what he made me go through. NTA, you're not an a-hole here. It's normal to feel like you've been betrayed when your own twin does something like this. I know the feeling because I have a twin sister too, and thankfully, we are soulmates and love each other too much to choose anyone else over us. NTA, I mean, you're right about how it's your brother's life and he has every right to choose who he hangs out with. And you are not an a-hole for deciding what hurts you and what doesn't. Your feelings are valid here, but your plan is a bit too much. I think you should talk to him about this whole thing privately and not ruin the birthday party for the kid. I'm a 27-year-old female. My family has a monthly tradition of dinner night. This has existed since me and my two siblings all graduated and moved out, as a way to keep the bond and contact. But then it was only the five of us. But now I have a lot more in laws, nieces, and nephews. I personally have no children, but I am married to Jack, 27. Family dinner night is hosted on whatever day everyone is free on any given month, and the host fluctuates between me, my parents, and either of my siblings. This month it's supposed to be hosted by me, and we've agreed on Sunday. The issue comes with the fact that I asked in the family group chat for my mom not to come. I clarified that my dad was invited, but I understood if he didn't make it due to my decision. The reason? She absolutely hates Jack. Every month she has something to say about him, whether it's his appearance, the things he does, or just any small fumble he makes. She always has to have a comment at the ready. I don't know why she dislikes him so much, other than their opposing personalities. But he's never been rude, abusive, cynical, etc. She has no reason to dislike him. They admittedly aren't similar people, but I don't see that as any excuse not to be civil. This has never been an issue with any of my sibling partners. I've called her out on it privately before, but nothing changed. I tried to insist to Jack that we didn't need to go, but he didn't want to take my family night away from me. Last month, my parents hosted and specifically asked for Jack not to come. So was my decision not to invite her a little petty? Yes. It wasn't an easy or haste choice. I spent all month debating on it. Jack did say he was okay with her coming, but it wasn't just about him anymore. I was personally having my own negative feelings about her. It's caused an outrage in the chat, though, especially with my mom, as expected. I haven't answered the phone to her yet, as I know it'll be a shitstorm, but I have talked to my brother, who thinks I'm making a bad decision. He and my sister both agree that I have the right to be annoyed at Jack's treatment. But at the same time, she's our mom, and not inviting her causes more rifts and issues than not inviting Jack does. The our mom is just opinionated and wants the best for me, and it's cruel to suddenly shun her like this. I couldn't tell you half the shit that's been said in this one post. But the conclusion seems to be that my dad probably isn't coming. My siblings think that I'm going to cause some major family warfare by doing this, and I should just tolerate it to keep the peace. I personally think I'm just returning the favor, but maybe I'm being petty and should just follow my siblings' advice? AITA? NTA, you married Jack, so he's family now. Your mom set the precedence that some family members can be excluded. But I think maybe it's time to stop with the family dinner nights. It doesn't seem to me these are doing anything to help the family bond at this point. NTA, I understand Jack says he doesn't mind, but showing up for him is a really good thing. Also, you personally understand how disrespectful this is. Your mom didn't want him at hers, so you have every right not to want her at yours. It might be difficult, but a period of low or no contact might benefit you here. I'm a 32-year-old female, and my husband, 32, male, and mom, 63, wants to move in with us now so we can help her financially, but she also wants me to be her caretaker. I straight up refused, and I'll provide context. Mother in law always bragged about how she doesn't love my husband as much as she loves and appreciates her daughters. My husband was her literal doormat, both financially and emotionally, for years, while her two daughters treated her as their maid and free babysitter, and also cussed her out the whole time while being extremely controlling of how she lives her daily life. My husband, being her doormat and being insulted that he's not loved as much as his sisters, took a toll on his mental health and ended up in therapy and medication multiple times because of that treatment. Whenever my husband prioritized me and she'd insult him about how he's forgetting about his mom and that she doesn't consider having a son anymore, she only has daughters and loves her daughters, things got much worse when my husband got so sick from depression that he was hospitalized 2 times in a row. During her visits in the hospital, she implied, "I don't take good care of him. That's why he's sick and hospitalized." I confronted her back then about how she's a terrible mother and reminded her of all the shit she's said and done and that she's the cause of whatever my husband has. After that, we went NC with her for almost a year. After that, we reconciled after mother in law seemed very remorseful. For many years, we have been typical with her, not close, but not distant either. She caused some drama on our wedding, but we could overlook it because it was not that serious. For the past 2 years, we've been noticing how, despite the fact that she has no stable income, she always goes out of her way to finance her daughters, even if they're in no financial need. But when my husband and I are in need, she ignores us completely. I don't think I'm owed her financial help, but I find it unfair she doesn't bother to hide her favoritism. So lately, her finances keep getting worse, so is her health, and she said she wants to move in with me and my husband so we could help her financially, but she also wants me to be her caretaker. I said no to both. My husband also said no, but she pretended she didn't hear this no and only focused on my refusal and confronted me. I told her she's never done anything for us. She's always sidelined my husband and never helped us in anything. She offered no support to us, not financially or emotionally, so no, she doesn't get to live with us. She said that it's her son's house too, so I can't decide on my own. My husband also told her no and explained why, yet she ignored him and pinned it just on me. My sister-in-laws have said I'm an AH for refusing to take her in because they can't do so since they have kids and we don't, so it's easier for us to have her around. AITA for not considering them? NTA, this woman is pure poison for you and your husband. Her daughters should take care of her if she loves them so much to the extent of diminishing your husband. NTA 100 times, cut the mother as well as her golden children. I wish you the best. I hope you get the peace you deserve. NTA, you are not required to care for or financially support anyone, saving your own children. You don't want to. Her past behaviors have caused serious damage to your husband. If she moves in, he will not be able to get away and things may get worse. She would have a strong foothold in your home, which would also give your sister-in-laws access to your home. She now has to pay the piper. You can't treat people like garbage, then expect them to turn around and take care of you in your old age because you're family. Their family is a toxic excuse to allow toxicity and abuse to continue unfettered. Block sister-in-laws if they cared about mother-in-law, they take her in. NTA, do not take her. She has her precious daughters and they can have her and deal with her because you can be quite sure she will only become more difficult and ugly once she comes to live with you. She doesn't get to call the shots. It's you who would have to look after her, and as she is so entitled already, she will be a nightmare patient. It's also you and your husband's home, not her personal hotel, that she gets to pick at will. Having a parent moving in will put undue pressure on the best of marriages, and when the parent is difficult and as mean as your mother-in-law, it can spell disaster for you and your husband's mental well-being. Stick to your guns, OP. You can also be sure your sister-in-laws will do nothing to assist you should she become your problem. Stop this right in its tracks.